A very warm welcome. Good afternoon to all the esteemed participants, respected dignitaries, and our distinguished speakers. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you to all today's insightful and forward looking webinar organized by the Committee for Members in Practice of ICI under the ongoing Grow Your Practice series webinar. This is the fourth webinar of the year which we are conducting. And the theme of today's session is Global Capacity Centers, Opportunities and Professional Involvement for the Chartered Accountants and Capacity Building. So Global Capacity Centers or GCCs are playing a pivotal role in transforming the professional services landscape worldwide as India continues to emerge as a global hub for the strategic business functions. This session seeks to equip our members with the knowledge and foresight needed to leverage opportunities in this fast evolving space. We are honored to have here with our leadership of the Committee for Members in Practice, Chairman C.A. Madhukar Hiragange sir, and our Vice Chairman C.A. Satish Gupta sir. So, CA Madhukar Hirigange sir, whose vision and commitment have been instrumental in championing the initiatives to empower the members in practice, and Satish Gupta sir, who will shortly deliver the welcome address, starting the tone for today's session. So, Satish Gupta sir, our Vice Chairman, sir, you may take over and please share your words, sir.
Thank you, Priyanshu. Chairman, Committee for Membership in Practice, Hire Gange ji, both the speakers, Rajesh Menon, and my dear friends who in very big number attending this wonderful webinar, a meaningful webinar series on online grow your practice through webinars of the CMP. So I welcome you, each one of you in this webinar on a very important topic, opportunities through Global Capability Centers or GCC. Friends, I would restrict myself to CMP and the initiatives of the CMP. Friends, Committee for Members in Practice is devoted and dedicated for seeing a growth amongst our members, especially the small and medium practitioners. In the chairmanship of our Madhukar Hire Gange ji, the committee is doing miraculous work this year. He is a visionary leader and has developed several, I can say, opportunities for our members in practice, which will be seen within a month or 2 months. We are working on real estate super consultant theme. We are working on GST litigation. We are working on virtual CFO. We are working on MSME part. And we are also working how to get work out of India. So these webinars are in different areas because through webinars, we are also giving some quality insight to our members, deliberating on various opportunities. Apart from this academic side, CMP is also working through some certificate courses on wealth management, on working paper. We are also working on practice ki Pathshala and other courses also. And apart from this, we are also working on some initiatives like credit card, health insurance, term life insurance, professional indemnity insurance, and other initiatives for the benefit of our members. Friends, today's topic, Global Capability Center or Global In-House Center or captives are really offshore units established by multinational companies to perform business critical functions. In India, around 2000 GCCs have already been established, And these are mainly in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, Gurgaon, Noida, and Chennai. So there is a big scope for chartered accountants. There is a big opportunity for chartered accountants through these global capability centers. Friends, as far as chartered accountants are concerned, the work is I can say a lot. Whether a field of finance, accounting, tax consultancy, or budgeting, or valuation, or we can say internal control, process automation, management accounting, etc., etc. Our both the speakers are the learned speakers who have command over the subject and have a very good exposure and experience. So they will definitely let us know that what are the opportunities for through these global capability centers for our chartered accountants. So I don't want to take much of time. I wish that today's sessions give us an insight over the subject, and after the session, we just are in the position to find a new opportunity for all of us. So thank you very much, the CMP chairman and the team CMP for organizing such a nice program through this webinar. Over to Priyanshu. Thank you very much.
Now we have our chairman, Sir CM Madhukar Hirgange, sir. Sir, we request you to please share your theme address, and I would be sharing the presentation.
Thank you, Priyanshu. You can go to the next slide. Basically, we at CMP are looking at unlocking opportunity, and our first program, which is coming up, is a 6-day GST dispute resolution seminar. We had done a GST program earlier also, and this particular program is going to be looking at what are the gaps and how to cover the gaps. I'm not going to get into this in detail because this possibly is more useful for those people who are planning to do the GST program. Next one. There is a lot of benefit. We had earlier in 2017, we had launched a GST basic course and then a GST advanced course. More than about directly around 20 to 40,000 professionals got into this area in 3 years. And now, of course, we have more than 150,000 chartered accountants practicing in some way or the other in GST. Next, please. There is a particular program happening by, there is also a committee we have got which is called the GCC committee. It's a subgroup type of thing. Why it has been made is because of the importance of this subject. This is under our council member Sanjeev Sanghi. Next, please. This is the summit which is happening. It's happening on 27th and 28th of June at New Delhi, and I have been requested by the GCC group that since this program also has something to do with it, we thought that we will take the chance to invite all of you who can come for this. I am going to be there for sure, because for me it's again a learning. I don't know much about it. And next, please. We will also be understanding from the experts like Santosh, Mahesh, and who are going to be supported by Rajesh. And I think, let me not spend more time between them and all of you. Over to the speakers. You will take care of the introduction and all, I assume, Rajesh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon to all the esteemed dignitaries, respected members of the profession, distinguished guests, and dear participants. As someone passionate about the profession and its evolving global relevance, I'm truly excited about today's session on GCC. We, as chartered accountants, are uniquely positioned to add value to this system with our deep domain expertise, strong ethics, and global mindset. During this webinar, we are intending to understand the GCC landscape, best practices for Indian CA firms, advantages of providing GCC services, real life experiences, and networking. It is my profound honor to welcome the speakers of today's session. Sri Mahesh Pillai. Mahesh Pillai is presently the CEO of an MNC's leading e-commerce business services. He specializes in transformation engagements in the areas of shared services and digital services, including business process management, ERP implementation, cloud, and mobility. His expertise is in various industry verticals, including logistics, technology, manufacturing, FMCG, travel, telecom, mining, and automotive, amongst others. He is a commerce graduate from Bangalore University with over 20 years of experience. He has been trained in general management, information technology, corporate accounting, finance, and business law by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. I welcome you, sir. Now, our co-speaker for the day, CA Santosh Hepsur. He specializes in direct, indirect taxes and management consultancy services. He comes with over 18 years of experience both in industry, in the areas of consulting, and also has 9 years of experience as a practicing chartered accountant. He is a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, also a company secretary. He holds a diploma in system audit, a registered valuer in securities, financial assets, diploma in IFRS, and a commerce graduate. Santosh is presently pursuing law. I welcome you for the session, sir.
Thank you.
With such remarkable on the most relevant shifts in our professional world, today's session promises to be highly enriching, practical, and forward looking. Let us open our minds, engage deeply, and together explore how we as finance professionals can ride the wave of GCC evolution. Thank you, and once again, a warm welcome to you all. Over to you, sirs.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you, the dignitaries, and thanks to the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, the Bangalore chapter. We were extremely, happy to be on this panel and showcase in front of a very large community of chartered accountants in terms of what capabilities we need to build for the GCC in the future and what opportunities are there ahead of us. As we go into the conversation, we will talk about how large this opportunity is and how we can all ride the wave of this opportunity. We are going to divide this session into two bits. I'm going to talk about a little bit around the industry structure, etc., and what is the outlay of or the landscape of the market that is available for us. And Santosh will pick up the topic on how chartered accountants can focus on certain areas of GCC and how it can benefit all of us in the long run. So post that, we could have a question and answer session from either the panel or the dignitaries or any of the members that would like us to ask questions. We will try to answer most of what is available, Rajesh, in the time. If not, we could take those questions on an email and I could come back to you and you could then go back to the individual member to present the answers.
Yeah? Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah,
sure.
We'd like to keep it as interactive as possible. So the 30 to 45 minutes of talk between Santosh and I, or maybe close to an hour, will be monologue. We will be, speaking. Anybody can keep posting questions, and Rajesh, you could refer the questions back to me.
Sure, sir.
Thank you. I'm just going to share my screen. Please do let me know if you're able to see it.
We can see, sir. You can proceed.
Yeah. So today's the purpose of of this webinar is to get an overview of GCC and the opportunities that are there, and how professionally chartered accountants can get involved in this whole wave of GCC that is coming towards India, and what opportunities lie for us, what we need to upskill and develop from a skills perspective to address this market and address this service requirement that the industry has. Very quick introduction. We're going to look at the rising role of GCC in global business strategy. Why should CS care? There is a very big growing demand for finance compliance, business process, advisory roles in GCC, and how we can all learn and also help these organizations that are building GCCs in today's market. That is the main theme of the conversation. So if you look at the GCC landscape today, there are actively about 5,700 active GCCs globally. Out of that, about close to 2,000 is already operating out in India. The term of GCC was, I think, put together in the last 2 years, and there's a lot of noise around how GCCs are coming to India, a lot of news materials, a lot of articles. But if you look at the industry, GCCs are not something that is new. Maybe the form and delivery that we were doing versus 20 years ago to what we are doing now has slightly changed. The tones have changed, but India has been leading the outsourcing industry for the last 20-25 years. We were one of the first countries that adopted the offshoring practices. It has obviously taken different names over the last 20 years. It started out as outsourcing, then shared services, then went on to become GBS, Global Business Services, and now it has come to Global Capability Centers. I think all of us need to understand what is the key difference between a outsourcing GBS kind of conversation to what GCC is. Outsourcing GBS, etc., has always been predominantly driven by third-party engagements, very few captive centers, and the focus was always about process and process delivery, process optimization. The GCCs, however, has taken a positive turn towards developing talent for the specific domain or industry that the GCCs are built for. The key thing is how can India become a global powerhouse in terms of being able to generate talent for the world and export talent for the world. That's the whole idea. And that's how capability centers have become more important, because the focus of capability centers are to develop talent and not just necessarily manage processes. If you look at 2024 numbers, already about 2.8 million people are working in GCCs. The projected numbers by 2027 is 4 million people. The market size currently is about 100 billion, and you can see in the next 3 years, it's growing by 50%. It's 155 to 160 billion dollars with a CAGR of 15% every year. Out of this $155 billion, the opportunity for India is about 45% of all the new setups that are happening in India. A portion of it is going to Philippines, a portion of it is going to Eastern European countries, but 45% to 50% will come to India. The Fortune 2000 companies, it's no more the 500, even the medium-sized organizations, which are in the 10 to $15 billion sizes, they are looking at building GCCs. For the next 3 to 5 years, Fortune 2000 companies are focusing on building GCCs across the world. India would be the main focus because we have been spearheading this for quite some time. The availability of talent is quite high, so India will be the default destination. Also, what are GCCs today delivering? If you look at it, technology services and finance and accounting services are the most mature of all the services that are being delivered. However, legal support, business support services, supply chain services, data analytics, all of these are becoming part of GCC delivery in the next few years. Since finance has always been at the forefront of this transformation for the last 25 years, it's natural that GCCs are focusing on developing talent, global finance talent in India. That's the most mature of all available processing. In fact, even IT is lagging behind finance and accounting on a maturity scale. So that presents a very large opportunity for chartered accountants, chartered accountant firms, practitioners, and professionals in this space. The changing role of outsourcing. So I've been talking about outsourcing being in the country for the last 25 years. In fact, when I started out as a 18-year-old professional after my CA foundation, I worked with a global company building, I think, the first few shared services in India. From there to the last 25 years being in the space, I've seen a huge, significant change in terms of how outsourcing has changed. It used to be extremely transactional in the early 2000s, and today it is more about a strategic partnership. Customers are investing in long-term strategic partnerships in India to ensure that the service delivery and capabilities that they are building can be globalized. GCCs are now focusing on value creation and not just about transaction price reduction. GCC are driving innovation across multiple business processes, not just limited to finance and accounting and other processes. It is looking at business strategies and helping business strategies innovate. There's a huge amount of domain-specific expertise that is getting built in India for certain domains. Very specifically, if you look at e-commerce, for example, India is becoming one of the top hubs for e-commerce talent. The new business models that you see in India, which is very, very akin to the world in terms of how, for example, quick commerce is changing the e-commerce world across the globe. So it all started in India, and then it is now going across the globe. So that is a huge amount of domain-specific expertise that is being developed in India. Also, the digital analytics and judgment-intensive work is becoming extremely critical for outsourcing organizations or GCC organizations or GBS organizations, so to say. I think customers are not satisfied anymore with just doing transaction processing and closing books. There is an extreme demand for really high quality talent, high quality work to be delivered out of their offshore locations. And digital analytics and certain amount of strategic and judgment intensive work is becoming the focus for all these companies in the next 2 to 3 years. They're training talent, developing talent, and also working on building long-term talent pools for this kind of work in India. So what are the best practices for the India CA fraternity? We already specialize in the F&A transformation and governance. How do we make this a lot more digital? That's the best practice that we should adopt. A lot of advisory and COE capabilities can be built, especially because setting up GCCs and running GCCs need a lot of advisory work, from how to set up, where to set up, what kind of talent to get, how to train these talents, what kind of services should be delivered, how can we keep on improving the service levels, how can we keep developing the talent pool. All this becomes part of the setup advisory. And building business cases end to end to show what is the ROI. These are very, very specific capabilities that we need in the country to be able to service the global customers. Also, partnering with global firms for cross-border expertise is important. A lot of GCCs today are not being delivered from out of one single center. They are being fragmented for better reasons. In terms of scale and risk management, there's multiple location models that are being developed across the world. Some organizations are building, for example, an accounts payable shared services purely out of Eastern Europe and book closure capability in India. So when such kind of models are being built, it's important to partner with global firms and build cross-border expertise. In my experience, a few customers who are Indian customers but have business abroad need a lot of local compliance and accounting support for their expansions. Developing that kind of talent is important, and knowledge base is important. The last but not the least, and the biggest impact that is really going to take us to the next level is about digital upskilling. We need to do a lot of work in the digital space and enabling our talent pools with a lot of digital skills. Again, in our own experience, Santosh and I have led multiple such transformations where we have enabled finance professionals with technology capability. Santosh can speak about it a little later in terms of what he's been able to do. We've seen a lot of benefit coming out of it, where chartered accountants with capability to understand digital systems and technologies are able to fare a lot better in helping customers. And once you start helping customers, obviously there's no limit around what you can become in these organizations. The other topic that I also want to talk about is how do we shift to tier 2, tier 3 cities. If you look at the Indian landscape today, maybe the top 10 cities contribute to almost 80% or 70% of our GDP. If we have to become a $5 trillion economy, I don't think that is sustainable as a model going forward. So how can we as a community contribute for this economic spread is by taking jobs to tier 2, tier 3 cities. Some of the emerging hubs that we are very familiar with, and again, Santosh and I have worked very closely on developing some of these centers, are Kochi, Coimbatore, Ahmedabad, Jaipur, Chandigarh. All these are becoming really solid foundations for talent. It's really helped us manage attrition, manage talent loss very effectively. It'll also contribute to a larger economy growth across the country, and it's important to develop the next 20-30 cities that will contribute to India's economy. So keeping these two in mind, moving to tier 2, tier 3 cities, the availability of resources, the availability of infrastructure in these cities is becoming very prominent. It'll definitely help all of us to consider a tier 2, tier 3 facility. The other thing is, when you're building global capability centers, most customers ask you for a backup strategy, the disaster recovery plans, and always having a tier 2, tier 3 city presence is important to win accounts. Needless to say, the cost advantage and the access to untapped talent is extreme. A lot of our people today in our organization itself come from tier 2 cities, and we have been in the forefront for the last 15 years developing tier 2 cities, and we have always seen a lot of benefits come out of this. The retention that we find in talent in tier 2 cities is close to 95%, which means you lose less than 5% every year, right? Even in cities like Kochi, Shimoga, and Mangalore, where we operate, we have seen less than 5% attrition rates, which is unthinkable today in a city like Bangalore or Delhi or wherever the metros are, right? All of us are losing in metros close to 20% talent every year. So you can see how much of benefits we can get from going to a tier 2, tier 3 city. And I think CA firms and CA professionals can help not just growing this economy, and they also in the development of this ecosystem of GCCs and tier 2 cities talent pool, right? One of the challenges that we have as professionals is to find the right set of people to deliver what we agree with our customers. If we have to find the right talent, I don't think just the metros will provide us that kind of talent. It is going to be very difficult to hire and maintain or retain this talent. We have to look at alternate talent pools, and shifting to tier 2, tier 3 cities is becoming second nature for very large corporates. I mean, if you both ends, whether you look at the big fours, KPMGs, etc., or the outsourcing organizations like Capgemini, Accenture, they are diversifying into tier 2, tier 3 cities simply because the availability of talent and the longevity of these talent pools, right? It may take another 15 years to 20 years for us to experience large-scale attrition that we experience in metro cities. So we can ride that wave for the next 10 to 15 years. That's an advantage. What are the advantages that we have for providing GCC services? Simply put, again, these engagements are really high-value engagements. They are of recurring in nature. So long-term revenue long-term planning it becomes easier for all firms. Again, access to international clients, uh, growing opportunity, Fortune 2000 companies coming to India. Most of these businesses are coming from US. A portion of it is coming from Europe. So access to international clients becomes easier. It's also, as professionals, a great opportunity for us to influence strategy and not just compliance and transaction management, right? I think for the last 15 years or 20 years, many of the talent pools that we have been in the process management space and process compliance space. This is a great opportunity for us to influence strategy and global strategy. The quality of people and the experience that we have learned over the last 15 years, we are able to now influence and tell customers what is the best way of doing things, how it should be done. So it gives you that kind of an advantage. Again, development of talent. If you have international clients, it's easier to attract talent and develop them and retain them. In our own case, uh, some of the big e-commerce accounts that we have been able to service has got us better talent in terms of capability. We have been able to develop more capability because of the talent pool that we are able to now access. So having international accounts or customers will always help you retain talent and develop talent to the next level. So if these are the advantages, why build a career in GCC? These are, I think Santosh will explain this in a little bit more detail, but I thought I'll quickly tap into it. I think purely exposure to global business processes. I mean, there is no doubt that the North Americas and European nations are leading some of the largest transformations that the world is seeing today, both in space of technology and business models. Working in a GCC gets us direct access to understand these global business processes, global models, how businesses operate in the world. That can help us not only serve our talent pool better, but also our customers in India better. Cross-functional and leadership roles. If you see, some of the larger organizations have started to hire and businesses are outside in the Western world. There is a big advantage of being in GCCs and building careers here because those are global roles that our talent can operate in. Opportunities in COEs and transformation offices globally become bigger if you've been part of GCCs and helped transform processes at a GCC level. Organizational transformation, etc. The first pick that people do is from a GCC place. So if you're running a shared services and you're doing transformation there, automatically the corporate offices in the Western world want the talent to come and help them transform the businesses at a total enterprise level. So that's a great path to be in, great space to be in. It's also becoming a very large opportunity for most of the people working in GCCs to become CFOs, COOs, and global controllers. My own experience is I started out in the shared services space, and now I'm the group CEO, and I also lead the e-commerce business as a CEO. So it has become an easy pathway for us to become business leaders, not just finance leaders. It is very easily now seen as one of the better ways to be in a GCC and then become a global leader. So that's a big advantage that we have in participating in the GCC journey. Real life experiences. I thought I will share a couple of experiences with everyone. The last 5 years, I've been working on building a e-commerce GCC. Today, we operate about close to 1,000 people in e-commerce, which is almost 95% of this talent was developed in the last 5 years, and 95% of these people did not come from e-commerce backgrounds. So we took people from different cities, different places, and developed this talent over the last 4 years. And today within India, we currently operate, I think, the largest e-commerce services set of people. How did this help us? I think one is, how did we go about creating this talent pool? Uh, while GCCs was just beginning in India, we had this opportunity to work with a very large e-commerce company. We looked at the opportunities that is there and what we need to develop as an organization. The first thing that we noticed is, there wasn't enough talent in the market to be able to bring into the e-commerce industry and start building, start running the processes for the customer. It usually takes us about anywhere between 3 to 6 months to get a talent ready to operate, independently in the e-commerce space. So in the first year, we simply took 300, 400 people from the market without any e-commerce experience, built a lot of educative courses and on a digital platform. I mean, today we talk about Udemy and a lot of other, education platforms. We built an internal education platform very similar to that, built courses for people, and people could apply for these courses, get these courses, and get them some certified in areas of e-commerce. So we built that kind of a structure, and today we currently operate about 1,000 plus people in the e-commerce space. We might have touched 1,500 people in this journey, where people have come in and resigned and left. And the knowledge of e-commerce is now about 1,500 people that we have been able to contribute as a small company. So imagine how global capability centers can help industries if we are on the forefront of developing this talent. When we started in 2021 on the e-commerce space, we had only one customer, right? Once you are able to develop this talent pool, today every single e-commerce company in India is our customer, because they simply see that talent trumps everything else, brand, etc., everything, right? So we were able to create this kind of a team over a period of time, strategically thinking around developing talent and not necessarily just grow the business by 15 or 20% every year. So our experience has been that if you invest and improve and develop talent, business will come your way. And GCCs are one great method of developing talent. Obviously, every organization has a different method of how they go about developing talent, but we could use some industry standard benchmarks and frameworks to develop this talent. And once you are able to do that, you can become a leader in domain spaces very, very quickly. Tier 2 city transitions, very simply put, I think we've been able to improve our EBITDAs by at least 12 to 15% in the last 15 years, simply by moving to a tier 2 city. The availability of talent, the cost of the talent, availability of infrastructure, and the cost of infrastructure is at least 20 to 30% lower than what we find in metros. This is one aspect that is driving cost savings for service firms. The other aspect of it is simply the cost of hiring and retraining people is contributing to another 15%. So tier 2 transitions have allowed us to save about 25 to 30% year on year in the last 15 years of our own journey. And I think everybody can benefit from that. The entire country can benefit, the profession can benefit, the firms that we all represent can benefit. So there's very real value in moving to a tier 2 city and developing talent there. Well, I'm coming to the last couple of slides in terms of what I wanted to submit. There are certain key takeaways that I wanted all of us to take away from this conversation. GCCs definitely offer a very, very transformative career and service delivery model. All of us need to ride that wave. All of us need to be in that space. India is already at the center of this GCC expansion. My personal belief, while numbers and statistics are saying 45%, my personal belief is that 60% of global GCCs will be driven out of India purely because of the pace and kind of quality of people that we are able to generate. Chartered accountants are going to be in the forefront of finance transformation by simply focusing on governance, strategy, digital, and analytics. I think we all need to prepare to become global advisors and enterprise leaders, and not just finance leaders. That is what GCCs can enable us to do. So focus on this is extremely important. And I think if we focus, it's very easy to become global leaders and enterprise leaders and not just finance leaders. So considering all of this, what should be our call to action in the coming years is, I think, focusing on upskilling in digital finance, GCC strategies, and consulting around GCCs need to be developed within the India businesses. Explore roles and partnerships in the GCC ecosystem. Be very, very proactive in your thought leadership and knowledge sharing on this space. And all of this, if we do it well, I think we will be able to shape the future of global finance delivery in the GCC era. With that, I thank everyone for your time, and Santosh will take it forward. Post Santosh's discussion, we can take up question and answers. Over to you, Rajesh.
So, meanwhile, we got some interesting questions which I would like to ask you in particular.
Sure.
One such question was, sir, if we are, actually, we at CMP are keen to develop talent in tier 3 cities.
Right.
Can you share what exactly we should upskill, soft skills, languages, etc.?
See, I think definition of a tier 2, tier 3 is important, Rajesh. We need to start with that, right?
Yes, sir.
I think it's very loosely worded or loosely understood for all of us. Um, I think there is a huge amount of talent pool. I mean, even if you take in Bangalore, right, most of the talent that we have is migrant talent, right, which
Yes,
is from a portion of it is coming from obviously different parts of India.
yes,
But easy migration is happening from the southern part of India, right?
yes.
So definition of what is a tier 2, tier 3 is important. I think educational institutions play a very important role in terms of what a good tier 2 opportunity is. So identifying which of the cities have the right kind of education systems which help in the language bit becomes easy. Two, I think partnering with local institutions and the growth phases of an individual is important. Simply put, what we did in Kochi is we partnered with about 25 colleges.
Okay,
Said we are going to build a course for the last semester of all your students, and we are going to drive the course for you, right?
okay,
And we helped about 14 colleges in Kochi to develop a 45-day training module, which is partly in terms of practical thing where they come into our office and learn in the last 15 days on how to do certain things or how to understand accounting. The first 30 days is more theoretical, and the last 15 days is more practical, right? So we've been able to, in Kochi, we started last year, and today we have about 250 people. Out of that, almost 200 people came from these colleges.
okay,
And we were able to develop this kind of talent within, let's say, 60 to 90 days. So it took us 30 days to partner with colleges, took us 30 days to build the courses, and 45 days of training, right? And that's the kind of impact we can have as organizations and professionals. Imagine in a period of 6 months in a tier 2 city like Kochi, we are able to develop 300 professionals who can work on any specific accounting domain, right? If one organization, like a small organizations like us, can do, imagine the collective uh, uh, set of people that are there on this call and within the institution's grasp, the kind of impact that we can deliver in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, right?
great, sir. So, what about the members in practice, sir? Can we train them?
Absolutely. I think you can definitely train them in terms, I mean, members in practice also need to, there is a little amount of, planning that we need to do in terms of how do we manage risk when we have to, deliver from a remote location. What are the things, I mean, we can learn this from a lot of organizations that have already implemented tier 2, right? If members can, like exactly this webinar that we are doing, we could have a specific webinar on how to strategize to go into a tier 2 city,
Okay. Okay.
right? And train members on what are the risks and pitfalls, and how they should mitigate that risk, how they should engage, what are the things that they should look for. We could train the members using those models, and that will start spreading this wave across the country.
Yes, sir. Surely, sir. So thank you, sir, for that wonderful session. And now over to you, Sandur, sir.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity, and thanks, Mahesh, for setting up the base on the GCC perspective. So, over a period, we have witnessed the first-hand remarkable evolution and expansion of professional opportunities for CAs in this dynamic sector, GCC. The GCC landscape has transformed dramatically over the past decade, evolving from traditional back office operations, as Mahesh called out in the earlier presentation, and now we have moved to a strategic business hubs that drive innovation, value creation for multinational corporations. And even multinational corporations, they can look at setting up their own GCC, kind of a wholly owned subsidiary, or even they can think of a hybrid model where they can partner with practicing CAs or in other domains. So that's a one example where Mahesh was saying about even we had a partnership, have a partnership where we are working with the big four of overseas entity and set up their GCC model operation in the finance and accounting and other consultancy services. So to talk about some of the opportunities CAs can explore, maybe who are they are looking for a corporate employment or in a practice, the couple of opportunities which I would like to touch upon. The one is the strategic finance and business partnership roles. The modern GCCs are offering chartered accountants unprecedented opportunities to move beyond the traditional accounting functions into strategic finance roles. As finance business partners, CAs work directly with the global leadership teams. That is the big advantage working in GCCs. And even they get opportunity of getting the financial insights at a globe level. And even they partner in building a business strategies. So these roles involve analyzing market trends, evaluating investment opportunities, and supporting merger and acquisition activities too. The exposure to diverse markets and business models across the different geographies provide invaluable experience that would be difficult to replicate in a traditional practice. That's what I say as the biggest advantage or the opportunity for a CAs. The second one, I say that it's on a technology-enabled finance transformation. The digital revolution has created exciting opportunities for CAs to lead financial transformation initiatives. GCCs are at the forefront of implementing advanced technologies like artificial intelligence, robotic process automation, blockchain in financial processes. Chartered accountants with technology acumen can spearhead these initiatives, designing automated reporting systems, implementing predictive analytics for financial forecasting, and developing real-time dashboard solutions. This intersection of finance and technology skills creates a highly marketable professionals with a unique expertise. So I can bring in my use case where Mahesh was touching upon our own e-commerce unit, wherein we built an in-house data analytics team, and they have adopted a new technologies, AIs, and in-house developed tools and applications, and made it to manage the e-commerce vertical itself for database about 20,000 GB. So it's humanly impossible to manage it, but that was the kind of the blocker or hill mount task was in front of us, but we could crack on that and then ensure the accuracy and completeness of the financials. So whether 13 or 15 people of a tech background and financial background, they could manage or replace or avoid the requirement of 150 FTEs. So that kind of a value addition we could provide to our stakeholders. And that's what the GCCs are the partners looking at us. The third opportunity, what I can think of is global compliance and risk management. With increasingly complex regulatory environments across multiple jurisdictions, GCCs offer CAs the opportunity to become global compliance experts. These roles involve managing regulatory requirements across different countries, ensuring adherence to international accounting standards, developing risk management frameworks, and even managing the tax litigations of a global transfer pricing scenarios. The exposure to diverse regulatory landscapes from SOX compliance in the US to GDPR in Europe. So which builds comprehensive expertise that is highly valued in the global marketplace. The fourth one I can touch upon opportunity is treasury and cash management excellence. GCCs have evolved into sophisticated treasury management hubs, and we all know about IFSC or GIFT City in Gujarat. What kind of the scale of the new entrants are there within the that SEC environment. So which offers the CAs opportunities to manage global cash flows, foreign exchange risk, liquidity optimization. These roles involve working with the multiple currencies, managing banking relationships across different countries, implementing cash pooling strategies. The scale and complexity of treasury operations in GCCs provide experience and expertise that rivals that of major financial institutions. So I can still refer here also where we are part of the e-commerce division, and for one of the e-commerce, we are building their treasury and cash management services. So that way, the e-commerce entities are looking at the specific area of expertise and domain experienced people are involved in the service deliveries. The fifth opportunity is on the management reporting and analytics. The demand for real-time business intelligence has created opportunities for CAs to develop advanced management reporting capabilities. These roles involve like creating executive dashboards, performing variance analysis across multiple business units, providing actionable insights to senior management, the ability to work with large data sets and present complex financial information in accessible formats and a meaningful way has become a critical skill in the GCC environment. So the sixth opportunity, what I can think of is internal audit and governance. GCCs offer chartered accountants opportunities to lead comprehensive internal audit functions that span across global operations. These roles involve developing risk-based audit methodologies, conducting operational audit across different business functions, and ensuring compliances with corporate governance standards. The exposure to diverse business processes and the opportunity to work with senior stakeholders across different geographies provides excellent career development for the CAs in the corporate. The other one is shared service leadership. Many GCCs have evolved into shared services organizations that support multiple business units, even multiple companies within a corporate group. CS can lead these shared service functions, managing large teams, optimizing service delivery, and driving cost effectiveness. These leadership roles provide excellent experience in change management, process optimization, and in team development across different cultures and time zones. The other benefit opportunity is career progression and global mobility. One of the most attractive aspects of GCC careers is the clear path for progression to global roles. As Mahesh touched upon, the career path is from CFO to CEO, and even at a global level, either controllership or a CFO roles can be taken up by the professionals. So many professionals who start in Indian GCCs eventually move to regional and global headquarters, taking on broader responsibilities. The international exposure and cross-cultural experience gained in GCCs make professionals attractive candidates for global assignments, and even they do get expatriate opportunities. The another opportunity is in the area of sustainability and ESG. The growing focus on environmental, social, and governance factors has created new opportunities for CAs in GCCs. These roles involve developing sustainability reporting frameworks, managing carbon accounting, ensuring compliance with emerging ESG regulations. As companies face increasing pressure to demonstrate their commitment to sustainability, CAs with expertise in ESG reporting and analysis are in high demand. So the GCCs do invest heavily in professional development, and that offers opportunities to pursue specialized qualification in areas like data analytics and project management. The exposure to global best practices and the opportunity to work with cutting-edge technologies ensure that professionals remain current with the industry development. The GCC sector continues to mature and expand, with India remaining a preferred destination for multinational corporations looking at and establish or expand their global operations. So there is a study that the establishing the growth of new GCCs is lesser than the growth of GCC's expansion. So the number of units are increasing than the compared to the growth of the number of new GCCs. So for chartered accountants, this represents an unprecedented opportunity to build international careers while remaining based in India. So the combination of global exposure, the technological advancement, and strategic business involvement makes GCC an attractive career option for ambitious financial professionals looking to accelerate their career or develop expertise that is valued globally. So a couple of nuances which may come across in the GCC setup for professionals in practice is mainly on a direct tax, indirect tax, FEMA, and then other labor compliances. So as we know that the GCCs are going to facilitate close alignment or a seamless connectivity between Indian employees and their counterparts across global entities. While this integration enhances operational efficiency, it can also give rise to tax and regulatory implications, particularly around the risk of triggering the permanent establishment or a place of effective management, and which may lead to exposing a global or overseas entity to a tax exposure in India. So this, wherever the risk is there or a complexity is there, the professionals like you and me would be in demand. So to mitigate such a risk or ensure compliances in cross-border operations, we must carefully look at the some of the business engagements or the business functions, like a secondment of overseas employees to Indian entities. It may lead to a presence of a service fee in India and exposing the overseas entity to tax in India, right? And even we have to look at the control and supervision of Indian employees by the overseas parent and affiliate, and the hiring and management of employees working from or based in India. And as GCC evolves, the professionals grow in the organization, there is an opportunity that Indian employees may become a key managerial personnel and serving as a directors or as a leadership role for overseas entities, and they may operate from India, and that may also get exposed as a service fee. So these nuances obviously will create opportunity for CAs, and we as professionals should be equipped enough and expertised enough to advise and guide the client so that the risk is mitigated. So, and this makes us to even evaluate our functional profile, the FAR analysis of the in the transfer pricing rules. So the Indian entities have to reassess their FAR so that the risk is mitigated and tax litigations or demands are lesser. So even we have to look at the existing MSA SOWs to be revisited, being the GCCs are evolving and the service lines are expanding and increasing. So it becomes imperative on a yearly regular basis we revisit the SOW MSAs and do an analysis of what is agreed and what is actual on ground services are getting provided to the overseas entities, so that there's no risk of exposure for Indian entities. So these are some of the opportunities what I thought of explaining here, and the Indian government as well as the state governments have been rolling out have rolled out even Karnataka GCC policies 24-29, wherein Karnataka government has extended the benefit of reimbursement of rental expenses and the reimbursement of stipend or the employee PF contributions. So these incentives which are extended by the state or central government obviously needs to be vetted or authorized or approved, validated by the practicing CAs. So these would give opportunity to guide the GCCs and monetize the incentives offered by the government, central and state. So what the other best practices, what we can adopt to be part of this GCC growth is focus on 2-3 specific industries. As Mahesh talked about e-commerce, over 5 years, we have been working on the e-commerce vertical, and any e-commerce, you name it in India, they are part of our ecosystem. So we have developing a deep domain expertise, and then building industry-specific solutions. So over a period, we have built in-house technologies or platforms, either in-house developed or externally sourced them, and made it successful, and even stakeholders are happy of implementing those tools. So the technology as a first approach we should have the within the CA firms or any service provider implementing AI-powered financial analytics, the providing real-time business financial dashboards, automating the routine processes which can add value to stakeholders, and building a team competencies and capabilities in the areas of IFRS, US GAAP, transfer pricing, and the advanced financial analysis, the process improvement. So these also will have value additions in growth path of the CAs as part of GCC ecosystem. So the key to success in this environment lies in embracing continuous learning and developing technology skills alongside traditional our accounting expertise, and maintaining a global perspective while leveraging the cost and talent advantages that India offers. So as GCC continue to evolve and take on more strategic role, the opportunities for CAs will only continue to expand and diversify. With that note, I leave the put up a stop of my presentation, and I'm happy to take up any questions or we can further discuss.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful thoughts. We have a few questions from over 900 members who have joined. and I will just share a few. First such question was, would building good attitude or values important in developing talent in GCC?
Rajesh, I think that's a good question. I think developing talent, developing businesses, everything needs a positive attitude and a good attitude anyway. But yes, I think we need to be prepared for, like I mentioned earlier, a few failures, falling up and getting up again and going back at it again. Uh, what we have found is developing talent in tier two cities, for example. The only challenge that you will find is the time to scale is a little bit more larger because um, when you consider kids growing in metros, etc., the kind of exposure they have to the world is very different to what tier two or a tier three city provides.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
We need to prepare for that. So it's a long pull. You need to invest a little bit more. But all that investment comes back as returns in multiple terms in the long run, right? And that is the attitude that we need to take to it. So it's important to develop that attitude of perseverance and saying, this is a long-term investment. Do that long term, and long-term benefits will come out of it. If you go at it like, I mean, we also hire people in Bangalore, and we expect the person to be on and up and running in the first 45 days. That might not happen in tier two cities. It might take a little bit more longer. But the advantage is you don't need to every year train a new person like you do
Yes.
in metros. Once you do this, it's a long-term impact, right? And I've also noticed personally that the fever to develop other people, the hunger to develop other people in tier two cities is much, much more. So if you develop one guy, that one guy develops another 15 potential capabilities in other people. The energy is a very, very different energy. Um, for us in cities like Bangalore or Mumbai or any of the major cities, I think life has become extremely monotonous. So we're very focused on our own personal growths. I think tier two cities, what I've noticed of people is they are able to develop people around them, bring a lot more talent from around them and groom them. So investing in one person actually leads to 10 more people benefiting out of it. The scale is very, very different, right? And the attitude is very, very different towards learning. So it definitely is a good attitude definitely leads to developing good talent.
And with that said, what about honesty and integrity?
I mean, that's a given, isn't it? Whether we do GCCs or not do GCCs in our profession, especially, I think the only mainstay is honesty and integrity. So it definitely has to be there, whether it is for talent or for building businesses or developing people. I think you need to be internally honest, and integrity has to be there. But as an organization, also you have to be extremely ethical about what you do. I think that's the nature of our profession. It's extremely important to carry that attitude.
So the next question was, how to connect with GCC to get upskill training and explore opportunities, how to practically enter the field, or how to set up a global practice in GCC.
So if it is a CA member who is asking, who's already a chartered accountant
Yes.
and already in a profession, I think one of the things that they need to look at is multiple GCCs that are operating in the country.
Mhm.
Uh, get an entry into it, and like Santosh mentioned earlier, the GCC organization's training methodologies and training structures are so very different than our professional trainings that we go through in colleges and institutions.
Okay.
It's also focused very heavily on personality development, problem solving techniques, technology, right? So once you get an entry into these spaces, um, the kind of trainings that you get is very, very different. Like very long ago, when I was working for a large MNC in India, the fraud detection process was taught to us by a FBI director,
Oh,
right? Which we cannot get those kind of opportunities here. So I think it's important to get into organizations that have structured GCC operations already in India, and aspire to learn, other than technical skills that we all have, learn leadership qualities, learn 360-degree development, problem solving techniques. I think one of the major things that everybody needs to equip ourselves is a problem solving technique, right? There are very, very globally standard practices on how to solve problems and how to articulate problems and how to, find solutions for it. I think we need to get that kind of talent. Other than that, I think capability in understanding technology. I'm not saying you need to learn coding, but you definitely need to learn how technologies operate. What are the basics around it? So you're able to articulate your functional problem in a technology conversation
Okay.
effectively. And if you're able to do that effectively, you're driving solutions far more effectively. Rather than simply saying, I want to go and buy a car with somebody, I'm going and telling somebody that I want to buy a car with 200 bhp power and so many seats capacity, uh, translates your requirement very, very effectively to somebody, right? Then focusing on that problem and solving that problem becomes far more effective. So I think it's important for somebody to, whoever is aspiring to go into GCC,
Hmm.
to do a lot of research and figure out which are the best entities in India that are running global GCCs,
Hmm.
and also understand from their HR organizations when they're doing interviews to figure out how do they invest in people,
Okay.
the things that organizations do other than technical skills to develop them, right? And understand that path. And
Okay.
then go and pick up these roles and do those roles.
Okay. So, how to set up a global practice or a practice in GCC?
I think I'll give my take and maybe Santosh can also give his take.
Yeah.
My take is you need to figure out exactly what you want to do in GCC.
Okay.
GCC is a very vast ocean. There is a lot of things that you can do. But my advice has always been that you need to build focus areas as an organization or as a CF firm, and specifically build capability around that. Like, for example, setting up a GCC in India, like an incubation center,
Yes.
right? The first 1 year of operating, if you want to do, and that should be your focus area, right?
Yes.
That's a consulting space. Help the organization come into India, set up, register, manage that registration, help them hire, help them train the people, right? That's a very high-end consulting work, right? You can build specialization in that.
Okay.
Next is understanding global processes, especially in the industry, right? Like today, Santosh and I lead an organization where we have at least 100 people who can go and tell an e-commerce company on how to design their processes and how to make it more effective, right?
Great.
Uh, that's a very, very specialized area. So you can build talent, get people from e-commerce industry, put them onto your client accounts, develop talent around that space, and focus only on that, right?
Understood.
Third is, for example, digital transformations, right? There is no better people than the CA community to understand how a finance activity is being done and how can technology help that,
Yes.
right? You can build very specific capability in digital transformation of finance functions. Go and help customers who are struggling with operating some of these business processes. So you need to understand exactly what you want to do in the space, right? Most often than not, this will be your first or second customer that will come to you with a requirement,
Hmm.
and you will see that there is a marriage of thoughts between what you want to do and what the customer wants, and you can start developing it. But it's important to focus on very specific areas and what you can do in a GCC, rather than saying I will do everything in GCC, right?
Okay.
Which we might not have the size and the talent pool to service that. So it's very important to be very focused on what we want to do as an organization, and understand that this is our strength area, and build a strategy around that strength area in terms of acquiring talent, developing that talent, acquiring customers in that same space, and building use cases. If we are able to do that, I think it'll help the entire GCC community.
Okay, so specialization is the key, right, sir?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Understood. So the next question: how to approach clients globally and how to get the first client on board?
That's a salesman conversation. It's not an easy conversation. Um, I think uh, every organization has its sales strategies, right? You usually start small with a customer and then you grow it into large opportunities, especially when you're a upcoming firm. The thought process is to start small with a customer, pick one or two processes, be able to showcase the capability, and then, word spreads on how an organization is capable of handling certain things, and then you start going up the value chain in terms of um, what you can do for that organization, right? And that opens up a larger opportunity. We can talk about multiple cases in our lives where we started with one or two headcounts to specifically handle one process. And for one of the largest automotive company today, we run a team of 300 people, right? It all started in 2008 with two people. They just said we want two people. As an organization, we could have said no to it, but we looked at the opportunity and said maybe this will become big. So one is taking that kind of risk. Two is there is a lot of forums across the world, a lot of events happening across the world where, like for example, the SSO and network. If you look at SSO and network, Shared Services Organization Network, if you register yourself under that, obviously there is a certain restriction on the capability, organization background, etc., to register. But once you do that, every single opportunity that you have, all these networking events come through that SS1 networks. So a lot of these things in terms of exhibitions, networking events that SS1 runs, GCC events that a lot of organizations run where CIOs and CEOs are invited. These are potential hotbeds for finding your first customer, right? It also depends on the sizing that you want to play with, right? You have to have a focus market. You can't on day one say I will go and service a Fortune 2000 company, right? You have to figure out what's our strength, what can we service now,
Okay.
and build talent, and then look for those specific customers. So it's a go-to-market strategy that we need to deploy. It's usually developed based on what size of the firm it is, what are our current customers, what are our current use cases, right?
Okay.
Then match it with what the market wants and where these markets lie, right? For example, all of these SS1 networks, everything is a market that lies there.
Yes. Yes.
So if you have enough use cases, you represent yourself in those networks and they will connect you to customers. So, and once that happens, then in our profession, I've always seen that word of mouth is larger than brand values, right?
Okay.
Like for example, our chairman Madhukar's name, you just have to tell his name and the kind of quality of reception you'll get with customers is very, very different.
Yes. Yes.
So the first one is always like that. You get it small, you grow it, and you sustain it, and then use that use case to build more customers. Obviously, there's a lot of networks that I can give you information later on where and all people can register and find new customers from.
Okay. So, sir, how to attract global clients? What to showcase?
I think attracting global clients needs a certain pedigree in terms of what you've been able to do, right?
Yes. Oh.
You have to have good use cases.
Hmm.
And most importantly, I think you have to have good talent. Most
Hmm.
often than not, I think medium-sized firms like all of us, we'll have one or two pivotal talent people who
Hmm.
are expected to drive all these conversations.
Okay.
Uh, and those two are usually, two or three people are usually homegrown talent within the organization, right?
Hmm.
And may not necessarily have the capabilities to talk about a GCC or building a shared services or building models around that. I think it's important to develop the right talent within the organization and also acquire other talents from outside to be able to grab global opportunities. Use cases are important, talent is important, and reach is important. Yeah, all these three we need to build.
Okay. So the next question: what global locations to start with?
See, there is no doubt about US, North America as being the foremost market for us. 60% or more than 65% of the business comes from North Americas, especially in the GCC outsourcing space. A good portion of it is coming from Europe, right? Uh, so if we are looking at international clients, these are the two major markets that you have. Having said that, Africa is becoming a bigger player,
Yeah.
right? A lot of opportunities is opening up in Africa. That's I would say, the third most one. Middle East has always been a very stable market. You can build a very reasonable business and sustain it for longer periods of time. But penetration in these markets, especially Middle East and Asian markets, is extremely tough. It takes time, and very deep connects to make these things happen. But US and America very, very open to US, Americas, and Europe are very, very open to the conversation of outsourcing. They've been doing it for almost 2 to 3 decades now. They understand it a lot better. The maturity levels of people on the other side is very, very high in terms of understanding this, how it works. So that is still our primary market. Having said all of this, we are all forgetting the growth story of India, right? Well, we all want global clients. The growth story of India in the last, let's say, 10 years, and in the next 10 years is going to be so huge. We're already the fourth largest economy. I think we'll be maybe the third very soon. The gap is very, very little.
Yes.
If you're the third largest economy, you can imagine the kind of business size that is there in India, right? Yes, the margins will not be what you expect out of global firms, but it'll give you long-term benefits. It'll help you build a lot of use cases. If you work in the Indian market, I think it's important to have a very, very, very strong hold of the Indian market to attract global customers.
Okay. So the next question, how can we approach overseas?
Again, I think we answered that a little earlier. I think it's important to build a strong foothold in India, have good use cases, and then be present in all these forums that are there that help you get these customers, right? What we do as a strategy is in the Americas and Europe, there are multiple such organizations that help the medium and small enterprises to come into a forum, and we go and present capabilities. I mean, take technology for example, right? If somebody has a hospital management software, where do they go and sell? They go and sell it in a hospital management event that is happening, where there are 100 customers being invited, and you go and present your capabilities, right? So first is to develop internal capabilities, have local customers, Indian customers, strong foothold. If you have that, then you can be in these forums and go and present yourself. Once you start connecting with these, it's easier to do the rest. The second one is PE firms, right? A lot of private equity firms. Once you get in connect with a private equity firm, you can get access to multiple customers under their umbrella. So that's another strategy that you can do, right? Um, a lot of our friends in the chartered accountant community help private equity firms design and structure funding, etc. Right? That's an entry point. If
Yes.
you want to extend that capability into showcasing your GCC capabilities or outsourcing capabilities, it automatically opens doors for global opportunities. So there are different strategies to use it. I think it's most importantly, you need to have a strong foothold and capability development for a global firm to come to you. One is develop that. Post that, you can be present in forums, and it's a sales effort. You have to go and sell. You have to sell your capabilities.
Yes.
Because the Americas and Europes are very mature markets, we cannot fish through it. You have to really prove with evidence that you are able to do well. Some of the markets feel, I mean, there is a perception on how people come from India, say that we can do all of this, and then you give the process and it fails. We need to avoid those kind of situations, which means sell what you can deliver, right? Don't oversell it. Build capabilities and then go after largest.
Okay. Uh, Next such question was, sir, how is the opportunity for setting up a GCC in agriculture sector? There are many industries which source raw material from the farms. Can the GCC be set up for the procurement side of such industries?
Yeah, procurement as a function you can definitely set. It doesn't really have to be industry. I mean, it can be industry agnostic. It's not, what you do in procurement for manufacturing versus what you do for procurement in agricultural. There will be only small nuances that you change. A lot of GCCs today do procurement as a function. If it is purely that, yes, it can be done. Just the know-how and time taken to market is what you need to factor in.
Okay. So the next question is a bit technical. Does working with GCC require surrendering of COP, or a member in practice can also work with GCC and continue his or her practice simultaneously?
I don't think I am the expert on this.
Sandhu sir, can
Yeah, that's not allowed, right? It's a independent. The CA practice is the independency service, right? So
okay.
cannot be able to manage both. Otherwise, it will lead to employment and practice together.
Okay. So GCC is more like employment, right?
That's right. Yeah.
One is
Okay.
that, I mean,
But you can be a advisor.
consulting. Yeah. Sorry, Santosh, to cut you off. I think if you are able to build a consulting practice around Rajesh, around GCC,
Yeah.
they can remain in practice and help consult for these larger organizations.
Okay.
But it is extremely important to have developed a lot of skills to be able to support a GCC from a consulting point of view,
Point
right?
of view. Okay.
So if you're in the forefront of that transformation and you know how the business works, you can consult and you can practice what you're doing and help these GCCs, pick up areas and consult for them. Like for example, internal controls in a finance delivery
Hmm.
organization. So you
Hmm.
could from anywhere from internal audit to designing their internal controls, monitoring their internal controls, reporting on their internal audit. That's a consulting work,
Yes.
right? That is still open.
Okay. So there are consultant opportunities in GCCs for chartered accountants, and for that we need not surrender COP.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. So the next question. Private corporates have established their own GCC spaces. What practicing chartered accountant can offer to such corporates, private corporates?
Santosh, would you like to take that?
Yeah, we touched on, right? Opportunities are multifold. One as a consultancy in specific niche areas, like building internal controls, what Mahesh just now touched upon, and then building the internal audit frameworks, even the technology audits. And then in addition to that, the nitty-gritties which come up in this environment is of the taxation matters, right? The cross-border transactions, assessing the risk involved in that, reviewing the contracts, and then seeing actually on ground what kind of services are getting delivered to overseas. Obviously, all scenarios, GCCs will look up to us as a professionals to advise them. So advisory service is the biggest one, but we have to pick the one, two areas and get into a deeper, build our own capabilities and expand that. Expansion naturally comes once we have a deep insights and knowledge of area or domain.
Okay. So with that, actually, we are done with our Q&A sessions. All the questions have been addressed, and thank you for your open sharing. I would like to call our chairman of CMP, CA Madhugar Hiragange sir, for an official vote of thanks.
To Rajesh, first of all, let me thank you for giving me this opportunity. Otherwise, it was your prerogative to do it.
Yes.
So I think it was a wonderful session. We have to, at least the speakers, I think they are sure. We are all generalists presently, We are like the physician. We know a lot about small things about many things in India, and we are large. We have around 90,000 proprietors in India. And those are the people who are now finding it difficult to make ends meet because their traditional areas of income tax and to some extent even GST compliances are disappearing because the government is automating. They are also making the laws easier. The need for intermediaries is disappearing, like faceless assessments are happening. So there is no intermediary required, and therefore there is an urgent need for the two-tier and more importantly the three-tier city professional to equip himself in newer areas. And after listening to Sri Mahesh Pillai and Santosh Hemsur, I think the near to 1,000 people who have joined will get some amount of what I would say encouragement that this is not something which is Greek and Latin. We also can get in here. This is the thought process which I got, and the ICI is doing many things. In fact, we have a AI committee separately. We have a digital transformation committee separately. We have a GCC study group separately. Then we have a committee called the WTO committee, which is already running a certificate course in outsourcing. US outsourcing, it is running a certificate course. Then there is our committee. Uh, as if it is not enough that there are 4 committees already there, we are trying to find out what we can do. And it would be wonderful if our committee could continue to, take some advice from the wonderful speakers with experience, because what they said is very clear. The insights they gave. For example, the takeaway for me were many. The last few which I got is no short selling. We cannot call a client and say that, oh, sir, don't worry, I'll give it to you tomorrow, when I know that it will not be even started tomorrow. This is just not possible in any GCC space. Second thing which I got is better we first work in the local market, establish that we can deliver in the local market, and then possibly go to the uh, foreign market, because then there will be some use cases for us to display what we have done. Also, I think one of the things which we are very good at, chartered accountants, is at least the good firms in India, are very good at training. For example, in our firm, we have an extensive training method. So I always say that anybody can be taken and he can become a partner in our firm. In fact, we have had partners who are from slum. They joined as office boy, as front office assistant. They became partner. That level they came because there is nothing. They can learn everything if the environment is good. And that is why I was very keen to know, what are the areas where we can develop everybody so that we build a huge ecosystem, maybe 10, 20,000 people who are ready to work with GCC. I don't know how to do it, but I'm just thinking that is what is missing. I don't know whether I'm sure. That, of course, can be a separate, discussion. But I think that today we got insight into many things. Our committee also, we are focusing on consulting this in the next 4 years, and we are looking at developing the value system and also good attitude, because I think though honesty and integrity is given on the ground level in CA, honesty and integrity is not that great. It should be there, and wherever it's there, they do well, but it's not very great there. So I think we got a lot of thought process on how to do, and the advantage of doing this capacity building in a 2-tier or 3-tier city, up to 25% of cost itself is a very big, thought process sharing which we got. So thank you very much for a wonderful session. And I'm sure that if there are any other questions from the members, we will pass it on to you, Mahesh ji and Santosh ji, and you could possibly respond. Thank you very much for a wonderful learning session.
Sure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, speakers, for your
Our
wonderful insight.
office also, Priyanshu and the team for, setting this up. It does require a little effort to ensure that
Thank you, sir.
everybody knows. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yes, you can stop the